so no upfront costs. You just upload a design. So I put it on Instagram, and my page just went nuts. And within a week, I'd sold about 400 t-shirts.
That was Chris of Doughball Disco. And it's your boy, Idriff, and you're listening to the What's Good Dough podcast. Whether it's pizza, business, or life, my guests and I always talk about ways we can level up. You may know Chris as an Uni ambassador that goes by the handle Doughball Disco. From Monday through Friday, he makes some amazing commercials. Seriously, check out his portfolio. I'm going to link it in the show notes just so you can be amazed. With that knowledge in mind, we gather some info on what we can do as pizza makers to make sure our creative is top notch. And some of the tips and strategies he gives us are going to be so helpful for those of you looking to make sure your pizza, your videos, your pictures on Instagram or anywhere you market are A1. Also, in the pandemic, he started creating pizza t-shirts, which was fitting because this guy is just a creative dude. And so we take a deep dive on his viral pizza shirts that have paved its way in pizza culture. And we take a look at how we, as pizza makers or business owners who either sell t-shirts or make t-shirts, can have a more attractive shirt that people want to buy. This is an amazing episode, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And remember to always ask, what's good, dough? Welcome back, everybody, to the show. We are in for a treat today. I have one of my homies from across the pond, Chris from Doughball Disco. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Thank you very much. It's such an honor to be on the show. I've been a big fan for a while. You've had some amazing guests, so I'm excited to share with the audience today what I've learned and dive into some of those things.
Great. I'm a big fan of yours, so the feeling is mutual. I am excited for you to be here, and you know how it goes because you listen to the show. There's no right or wrong answer. What's good, dough?
What's good, dough? Wow. Do you know what? This is a real head and heart question. I've been thinking about this for a few weeks since we started chatting. But I think for me, I'm going to come at the angle of being an amateur pizza maker. And so what's good, dough, for me is whenever you feel proud when you take that pizza out of the oven. And in that moment, you're feeling great. Even if in a few months' time you sort of look back and go, oh, maybe that wasn't so good. I've learned some things. I had to crop that corner off out the picture because it's a little bit burnt. But enjoying those moments, when you look back on that feed, you've had friends come around, maybe they've complimented on you. And if you're taking notes, like I know some of your guests do, I always sort of look back and, what made that successful? How can I repeat that? What did I do differently? And to me, that's good, dough. And take that, because I know pizza making is a journey that just doesn't stop. It's like being a musician. You're only going to get better with every pizza that you make.
That is good, dough. I love that response, and it kind of brings me back to 2021 when I first saw you get active on Instagram. I was scrolling through your feed, and I saw that you were doing a lot of note taking. Posting the pictures, figuring out what worked and what didn't, and then Googling, I think, which is what you said, how to fix it.
Totally. And then, the more you get into the community, I was experimenting with toppings and not overlooking the dough, but sort of getting excited about that. And I just remember Ben Mushy Peas, his seeing his pizzas. I was just like blown away by them. I was like, wow. And so I started reaching out to people and sort of, trying to figure out where I was going wrong. Maybe I can improve them. Christy as well. She was posting up little videos and tips, and it was just like, using wet hands to handle wet dough. I was just like, oh my God, that's such a simple thing. But it changed being more gentle when you're in that proving stage. I also sort of learned, I very much like a Rose Hill sourdough. I don't knead my dough. I do a folding method. Which again changed the dough, being really gentle, lots of little tips with shaping. All of those things over time has improved each pizza that I've made. But now I still have moments where I'm like, oh damn, that could have been better, or with this crazy weather at the moment, slightly overproving some things. But I've been really militant at sort of taking notes. I've got a big diary, loads of pages. And when I lose my dough confidence, I flick back on the book and go, hey, maybe I should go back to what I did a few weeks ago and just sort of go back to basics. And enjoy it as well. Like, it's, you learn from your mistakes more than you do when you've made something brilliant. So sort of embrace that.
I love that. And I love that term dough confidence, because it's a roller coaster of a journey. You feel that dough confidence sometimes, and then you're like, uh-oh, dough embarrassment too.
Yeah. When it's right and it all goes to plan. I had a party the other week, and honestly, every pizza that came out was just absolutely perfect. I was like, that's amazing. Whereas, Jenna came all the way over from Singapore. That was probably the most nervous I've ever been, and the dough was sort of misshapen. One side was sort of slightly bubbled up, but it looked good. When she cut it with the scissors, I had a good corny cone. But it wasn't my best. It wasn't my best pizza. But she loved it. She loved the fact that you share pizza with someone, and that goes back to just having a good dough moment, really. Whatever it is, just sharing food, sharing a moment. And that's what I love about pizza, whether it's online sharing or in person.
I love that too. And I was envious that you got to meet Jenna. It seemed like such a fun time. One day I'd love to meet her and you and just have the same sort of experience, that moment of sharing a good pizza with a pizza pal.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, I'm very lucky in the UK. There's some good pizza people that I've met through Instagram that we've just clicked and connected and made some real genuine friendship, that we get to meet up, learn from each other. They've really, raised my pizza game massively through chatting them. I never made dough or bread or anything like 18 months ago. So like fresh into pizza making, and having that knowledge, and just people, you think, they're never going to respond, but straight away they come back and they're chatting with help and advice. It's just leveled up me massively, which is great. And that encouragement just kicks you on when you are having that sort of dough confidence. And that's what I sort of love about it, really.
Yeah. You bring me back to like the whole 18 months thing. I feel like your pizzas are really good. What do you kind of attribute to that? How much time are you spending making these pizzas? Can you give us a little bit more detail?
Yeah, totally. So everyone thinks I eat about 1 million pizzas, probably like most guests, but I tend to make 4 pizzas at a weekend, and then I slowly, post that content over time. And I'm trying to manage, manage my time a little bit. So I like to come up with one pizza where I mix the toppings up, do something fun, be creative with it, try and do something new or combine some things that haven't been combined before. I then always make a margarita first. I love to do that. It's sort of when you make pancakes on we have pancake day over here, that first one that comes out sort of sets the tone. So I always like to do a margarita first. And other pizzas, I'm either sort of experimenting or doing a bit of a crowd pleaser, doing something my wife likes. But really as well, it's kind of with sharing on Instagram, I turn mine around in about 3 to 4 hours, that time, start to finish, including filming. So I'm shooting really quick, trying to dodge a screaming baby. I've got a 1-year-old. So I would say to anyone that has children, thank God Instagram allows you to add music. So you can just, when they ruin your perfectly curated shot with some screams in the background, you've always got editing and shots. But first and foremost, I really want to have fun with making pizza and make this feel not like a chore. I know some people get quite bogged down with Instagram, the pressure to post. I'm just out there having a laugh, and like if I make a pizza and it doesn't work out, I don't have to show it to anyone. And I really try and get that across on my page. Sometimes I'm like, what have I done? There's me doing shots at the same time as making a Tokyo pizza with some sake. But it's about experimenting. I just want to experiment, and it's great. Like the feedback and encouragement mostly from the community is positive. You don't always get everyone that loves what you do, but I think that's the whole point of being creative. Is you don't want to just be liked. Like you either want to be loved, or if someone hates you, that's absolutely fine. Do you know what I mean? It's like at least they feel something from what you're making or what you're trying to create. I think that's sort of super important, and not to be scared by that sort of process either. Is something to kind of really embrace and sort of laugh. It's try to focus on the 20 nice comments and not one that sort of doesn't like what you do so much. But that's fine.
Can we dive a little bit deeper on that? Because you are a creative director for your day-to-day job, right? And you've been doing this for over 20 years. And you said something that really spoke to me. Clearly the community loves your content. They've responded. You're an Uni ambassador, and I feel like part of that is because your content is so great. But the word feeling, you're trying to invoke feeling out of it. Is that something you learned from your work outside of pizza? And how does one apply that when they're shooting their pizzas? Welcome to the What's Good Dough podcast, and get ready to level up. But before we continue with the show, I want to introduce you to my two show sponsors, Uni Pizza Ovens and Cordo Olive Oil. Let's start with Uni. They are the #1 pizza oven company in the world with the best community there is. Because of their ovens, I have made some of the most amazing pizzas. From round pies to squares, I'm able to get to temperatures of up to 900 degrees, allowing me to cook the pizzas of my dreams. If you're looking to grow your pizza business, buying an Uni makes sense. My past guest Ryan of Sanctuary Pizza has a mobile catering company powered by Uni. These powerful ovens are efficient, lightweight, and can be used almost anywhere. Whether you take pizza seriously like me or want to run a pizza operation like Ryan, Uni is the choice for you. Use the link in the show notes and join the Uni community. My second show sponsor is Cordo Olive Oil. At first, I didn't believe that olive oil mattered. It wasn't until I got educated and learned about the difference between commodity oil and Cordo's fresh squeezed olive oil that I ditched the supermarket stuff. Today, I only use Cordo olive oil when it comes to making my dough and even doing a post-baked drizzle. I have even made some amazing pesto with it. Oh my goodness. Cordo's high-quality olive oil does really elevate anything it touches. My buddy Chris, who runs A Slice of New Jersey, just switched over to Cordo. Not only is he getting quality, but he ended up saving money by switching over too. If you're still unsure of the difference, pizza operators can sign up for a free olive oil tasting. Use the link in the show notes to learn more. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my show sponsors and supporting this show.
My background is advertising. I've done that for 20 years, and whatever the product it is that you're creating or you're writing about, coming up with something new is scary. The blank page is scary, and you can be worried about how it's sort of received and judged. But you need to be fearless and come up with a point of view that's different, that feels right for you. And I think when you share your point of view, people are either going to kind of love it or they're going to feel a reaction from that, whether they like it, whether they don't like it. It's about figuring out ideas in general. It's about what you want to stand for. And bring a new perspective to something. And when you bring a new perspective to something, that's when you get that reaction that you kind of want, that feeling to the work. be it, and when I say feeling, it could be silly, it could be witty, it could be something powerful, it could be fun, and applying that to sort of pizzas. What one of my I love the Hawaiian pizza. I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to put that out there. So like I remember this International Hawaiian Day. So I was kind of like, how can I create pizzas that could be quite fun for a party? So I made some dough balls and I hid pineapple inside. So I was thinking, like, I could invite my Italian friends over and serve them these dough balls, and they take a bite in, just to see if, I think it's all about flavour, but I like a cheeky kind of funny undertone to it, which I think is great for a party, to sort of sneak that in. And the filling was a spicy pineapple chutney with some cheese in it. It tasted brilliant. I loved it. But that sort of naughtiness and that sort of creativity is fun, because when you think about a creative idea, you can do, like, misdirection is one of the tricks that you can do, and that was just a fun misdirection. Thinking about the serve, thinking about how people consume what it is that you make, and having fun with that. I think I also made like a hidden Hawaiian, I called it, which was, again, I used the chutney, so it just looked like a ham pizza on the surface. So I was just thinking of ways that might sort of sneak that Hawaiian in there, and going for it on there. So when you come up with, think about toppings, it doesn't have to just be a combination of ingredients that inspires you. It could be the experience of eating as well. So unpick everything to make new ideas happen and come with it from a new angle. And that's what you're looking for.
So you just talked about, the making of the pizza and then even the eating of it. And how does that translate to, or what is the next step in terms of filming it or taking the shots?
I'm always thinking about the journey, and I also overfilm. In my background, creating TV ads and things like that, the edit, you can plan, you can storyboard, you can write a script. A director can shoot exactly what you've written, but in the edit, that's where all the fun is. The thing that you plan to be funny is never the funny moment. It's the impromptu bit that was never supposed to happen. And so I'm literally running around with my phone. I'm leaning it behind the cooker, cooker hob facing me. I'm resting it on a bookshelf. I'm holding it. I think everyone in Instagram should be a round of applause for learning how to cook with one hand.
It's so hard.
It's so hard. Honestly, I wonder how good I might be if I actually could just use two hands. It would be no, but I would say over film. Shoot everything, and then when you go back to the edit, I'm looking to. I start off maybe with a basic story, so like the way the linear story of what's made, and then I'll go back and I'll go, right. I need a punchy opening. What's sort of fun? So, is it a few quick shots of the sizzle out the oven? A fun ingredient splashing into a pan, and then go back into the story. And then within that, what I'm trying to experiment with at the moment is just then trying to get a bit of my personality into the content. That's what I'd really love, because I tend to find you see a trend of like a 6-second particular clip that works, and then all of a sudden everyone's doing the same thing. So which is great. I love to see people diving in with filming now that Instagram's controversially moving from photograph to film, but that's just progress. But I think the one thing that people can't copy is you. So if you've got your own story, you've got your own personality, and that comes through in the work in a little snippet, that's the magic bit. One of my Fung leopard crust is one of my favorite people. If you want to know how to make a piece of entertaining content that's pizza, is like, you should be following her. She's brilliant at it. Another hero. So again, it's kind of there's loads of things that you can sort of look and sort of find your lane. And for me, being in front of the camera is not natural. It took about a year before I was like, right, I've got to do this now. And I usually sort of, I have done things in front of camera before. I normally don't watch them back. I don't like to watch myself back. But just sort of, you just get over it. And then I sort of found being able to use small bite-sized snippets rather than me pretending that all of a sudden I'm Gordon Ramsay and I can do a 20-minute do camera. Here's what I cook perfectly. Because that's not going to work either. I don't have a cameraman. So I overshoot, I overshare. I sometimes go back and film myself talking to camera. I honestly spend about 5 minutes saying one line because I'm just like, I start off being serious and then I start goofing around because I get bored or just mucking. And they're normally the bits that I chop in. So, I've talked about it before, that doing shots, I wanted to make a Tokyo style pizza, and I thought it'd be fun to switch up the tomato sauce for, you've obviously heard of vodka sauce. Well, why not make a sake sauce? So I was making that, and it turned out great. And in between, I was just, knocking back a few, obviously being very uncultured. Sake is not a shot drink, it's a sipping drink. But, I was having fun in my kitchen, and not really caring. The other tip is, I normally tell my wife to leave the kitchen and I shut the door so I can just be silly on my own and not worry about things.
No judgment.
No judgment, exactly. Lots of judgment. It's fine.
I resonate with so many of the things you said. First thing, the sake sauce. I didn't know you did that. It was actually one of my bathroom thoughts while sitting on a toilet. I was like, how come we don't do this? I think I might have been watching a Andrew Bellucci vodka sauce pizza video just because I always see his vodka sauce. And I'm like, how do I incorporate something different, something new, something that's, Asian because I am. I was like, sake. That would be great. I need to check that video of yours. I'm sure I'll get some inspiration from there.
All I'd say about the famous sort of thing is no ideas are new ideas. They're often a combination of things put together in a new way. And I'm always looking at recipes and kind of going, well, what if I switched out that one thing for this? Or how could I flip that on its head? Or, I'm making a Tokyo marg and getting inspiration from other cultures and going, well, could I mix that, put that into the mix? Could I make something new? And experimenting and not being afraid to fail is what it's all about, 100%. And like I say, you learn from your failures. That's fine, but you can make it better next time, or you know what to change.
Yeah. And I love the tip you gave about overshooting. I made this reel that did pretty well, and I was just so glad that I was taking extra long videos. It took longer on the edits, but it just came together nicely versus all of the short, 3-second shots that I was shooting for reels. It made more sense to just grab the minute ones, find the moments that worked, and then take 3 seconds from that versus 3 seconds here, 3 seconds here, 3 seconds here, because sometimes it doesn't make sense.
100%. So, in the editing world, when it comes to advertisement, we actually call them like handles. So, your cropper clip a specific moment, cut down, but you'll always have extra time either side, so you can sort of adjust every moment. So, but leave the camera rolling. Don't expect that pizza as it pulls out, you've got that perfect shot. I might do that 3 or 4 times. Change the angle, try it again. And I also kind of find the good thing about reels is it's not necessarily about professional level quality. So you can shoot from the hip a little bit more. And if you've got lots in the bag to play with, you can then go off and make the edit work for you. And then, the other thing I've sort of done is I've totally streamlined my editing process. I used to do it on the laptop, but you're uploading, downloading, transferring the footage, and now I just edit everything on my phone using as an app called Splice. I think there's other ones out there, but it just allows you to quickly stitch something together with all the footage that you have, super quick. So I'll be lying in bed or watching there's a TV show in the background and I'm sort of half watching, but I'm there like editing the stuff together.
Lately, I've been doing it on my phone. I want to say 90% I've been doing it on my phone, but there were some times where I was doing it on Premiere Pro. It did take long, but it was nice to just not, be like scrunched up using my thumbs. But I totally get that. There's less friction when it comes down to just using your phone.
Yeah, I do miss though, having nice lenses and a camera operator. So I just need to get some extra helpers. Maybe when my daughter turns 3, she could be my camera girl.
Perfect. So you've given us some excellent processes, to implement in our capturing of our pizza. But one of the reasons why I fell in love with what you're doing, aside from the content itself, is your creations when it comes to t-shirts.
So this sort of started out as, in lockdown when I started my channel. I thought it would be great to, create some pizza merch. And I really thought that, if I sold 5 or 10 t-shirts that maybe brought me enough money to pay for food, or if I needed some equipment, it could be really fun. But what I did was just, I really approached it like any kind of creative process that I do. And there's 2 things really is I sort of noticed that a lot of people just put their logo on a t-shirt. So you invest your time in your brand. You love what you've made, and you feel really proud of that. And you think just because there's a lot of tools out there to be able to make products that you can just put your logo on, and that's going to sell. Which unless you've sort of earned a place in pizza culture, like you could be a really famous shop in New York that's folklore. Okay, you've earned that right. You're part of that community. But for many people who's just started something, you don't have that. And I also sort of think that even if you're a little local truck and you're just putting your logo on there, what you're doing is you're only speaking to a handful of people that know you. So very much like Instagram, like I'm speaking to you, you're from the US. I've made friends in Singapore, Italy, all over. There's a global audience out there which you could be selling to. And so really I started thinking about, how could I design and create something that speaks to everyone, that just so happened to have Doughball Disco on the front. So that was sort of my approach to it really. And then it's kind of like what sort of content do you make? What do you want to say? What do you want to stand for? And how can you say it differently? Obviously, I've already talked about my love of Hawaiian Pizza. The first a t-shirt that I created was I've called it the Hawaiian hand grenade. And for me, it was about becoming a pineapple activist. And so what I wanted to do is there was a lot of t-shirts out there that was obviously about pineapple love it or hate it. But actually I wanted to something that would speak to people that's like, do you know what? It's not popular, but I'm proud to say that I love pineapple on pizza. And actually we need people that stick up for us because it's so looked down on, which is kind of silly in its own right. It is supposed to be tongue-in-cheek and a bit of fun, but by becoming a sort of pineapple activist, it seemed to really speak to people in a fun way, and that t-shirt just sort of exploded really. Like I put it up on Instagram, and I sold it through Everpress as well. So They're a company that sort of operate in a drop ship manner, so no upfront costs. You just upload a design. So I put it on Instagram, and my page just went nuts. I think I had maybe 200 followers at the time, and in a week I'd sold about 400 t-shirts. I was just like,
whoa!
I was like, okay, this is doing all right. And then
what?
Yeah, it just went nuts. And Everpress reached out to me and said, Chris, we love your t-shirts. It's doing really well. We want to make you pick of the week. So then that t-shirt started featuring in their email chain. And they said, actually, Chris, we're running this campaign actually where we are bringing people that have a small business and a charity together, because this was like deep in COVID. We'd love you to be part of that campaign. And I said, look, I'm not a small business. I'm making pizzas in my garden. They're so like, no, that's cool. Honestly, we're here everyone's going through a difficult time. And so they hooked me up with Hospitality Action, which is a charity that supports people that go through tough times in the hospitality industry, which you could imagine in COVID, there was a lot of difficulty for those people. And I said, I'd love to do it. I'm happy to give all the profits to them, but they're like, oh, that's not how our model works. It's a 50-50 model. And I said, okay, look, that's fine. But again, what was brilliant at that t-shirt just absolutely took off. And I was able to raise about £3,000 last year for the charity, just off that one shirt. And what the drop ship method does really is it really frees your time. So, along with coming up with a good idea, you really need to think about like this as a side business. So, I have a full-time job. I was becoming a dad, and I made these t-shirts on the side, if you remember, to maybe pay for a few ingredients. And I wasn't about to create a t-shirt company. It wasn't my plan. I wanted to make some t-shirts on the side, and it just so happened it took off. But by using that drop ship model, you forgo getting everyone's address, wrapping up the t-shirts, writing a handwritten note, the cost of packaging it all up, walking up to the post office, posting that one product, and by doing that, I don't see the products. Obviously, I had samples. I was really happy with the quality. I don't have to see any of that. I don't handle any of the customer side of it at all. I just upload those designs, and now every 3 or 4 weeks when it goes to print, I'll get a payment through to me. That's it. So once you come up with that idea, and so I then created 3 other t-shirts, varying success with them. But what it's enabled me to sort of do is, like I said, I sold about 3,000 units worldwide last year, just from 4 designs. That was my input, which is good. Which I was, I didn't expect with that. And so Everpress, they do take more money up front. So I think I sell my t-shirt sell for about £25. Everpress charge 15, but from me. So, and then I'm left with, depending on the number of units, anything as small as £6 per t-shirt profit to as much as 10, which is a lot less than if you went to a local print shop and had them printed up. But what I said to you is it's all about time. I'm not handling that side. So I get to have fun making pizzas, and I have this side business earning me money, and additional income, and also the charity money as well.
First of all, congratulations, because 3,000 t-shirts is no joke. 400 on your first one is like hitting a home run. And, I could just be like, I could just imagine like what a high. For those who are unfamiliar to the dropship model, I don't know if Everpress is a UK based company. I should have looked that up, but I use Printful. Even though you have a smaller profit margin, you have no inventory risk, right? You don't get stuck with like hundreds of shirts that you may not sell, or you don't have to worry about driving to the post office or shipping them, right? What Chris is talking about here is just really simplifying life so that you can focus on what's important. Once you create the design, it's that simple. The drop shipping company, I guess it's called print to ship in some places. If you want to Google your own company, those companies will take care of it for you and just cut you a check. Simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that goes, that you summed that up perfectly. It really is about seeing what the value, valuing your time. If you're, I'm just, my day job, is very busy, late nights. And so that would be, the same as if I was running a pizzeria, probably longer hours if you're running a pizzeria. But by creating this separate stream, and taking the hassle out of all the things that probably bog you down from making a side hustle fail. It's all of that, all of that stuff is what gets in the way and actually could overtake what you fell in love with or your main business. And to me, that model just works perfectly. And you can get bigger profits out there, doing other ways. But what this model also does is, you touched upon it, is you can stress test designs without any upfront cost. So there's no printer fee. You're not putting money into doing, I'll do a run of 100 t-shirts. You simply upload the design and share it. And if you sell 5 on Everpress, it goes to print. So it's very low risk, very low barrier, and you can trial stuff. With my 4 designs, obviously I've talked about the pineapple t-shirt. I think I've got, I made one of the routes that I went down was having a bit of fun with some puns, and I was watching Cobra Kai a lot during lockdown. So I had loads of silly ideas on my phone, but one of them was Cobra Pie, and I thought, welcome to the dojo was where I sort of come from, and the angle was all about people that eat pizza, and I was thinking about when a pizza's served up and the sort of bum fight that I have with my brothers about the slices. So I thought, no mercy, slice hard, slice fast. You could have a lot of fun with that sort of angle. But the point, just going back to the dropship, that t-shirt sold okay, but it didn't really take off like the others. And it's probably because it's quite niche. And so what felt like a really fun idea, and it does sell still. I'm glad that I didn't have to, I hadn't got loads of stock on this, and because I might have had some left over. And again, I also branched out into making tea towels that sat outside of this t-shirt model, and I did get these printed myself. I did a run of 100 with them. It costs £3 a unit, and I sell them for £12-13. And so actually I'm making as much, or if not more, from these tea towels than my t-shirts. But man, every time I get an order in, I have to fold them up and pack them up, and I've got a cupboard in my spare room filled with tea towels, which doesn't always sit well in the household. And then I have to, it's 2 miles up the road to the post office.
It's time.
It's time. And actually,
clutter.
Clutter, yeah. And actually it's sort of taken the joy out of that. Whereas the t-shirts, I'm just thinking about designs. And then I love when the idea resonates with people and they send me pictures of them. Like there's 7 crazy people that have my Pineapple Rights t-shirt in Italy, which I slightly love, above all else. Brave souls. Yeah, totally.
I just want to point out one thing. For those listening in the US, if you use Printful, there's actually no minimum. So the whole, I think you called it stress testing a product. Yeah, it's beautiful because you don't want to get stuck with a whole bunch of products, and then you can lose a bunch of profits that way. But if you just want to order one, if you don't sell 5 even, it will ship to that customer. So just wanted to point that out. In terms of, I imagine there are a bunch of people here who have some dope shirt ideas, sick, and they want to put them out there and sell them. I want to use the rest of this time with you to ask you about maybe tips for design and tips for getting out the shirt, or I guess just getting eyes onto the shirt and increasing your visibility. So maybe you can talk about those 2 things.
Yeah, totally. I think first and foremost, be honest about evaluating your ideas, and really ask, would I wear that shirt? Just straight away, just ask that question. It seems like a silly thing to say, but do that. And then in terms of design, there's a couple of ways of approaching it. Obviously, I feel lucky that I had a creative background and I can draw, and I do mine myself with an iPad and a pencil, and then I do them with Illustrator so they're ready for print. But I understand that not everyone's like that. So what I would say to people is, if you've got an idea, there's lots of people on Instagram you can find, and there's lots of people out there that are brilliant at what they do. But I think what's really important is to come with a brief for them. So you've got an idea, maybe you've got a slogan for the shirt, but then visually, what does it look like? So, I would pull together a mood board of images and styles and references of whether it's particular, like, do you want like food characters, or if that's not what you want some mad 80s sort of synth style design to it. Like, come with ideas about how you want that to be brought to life with the slogan, and take that to someone who's really skilled at their job, because if a designer charges you £300 or £400, or I'm not sure what that would be in dollars, $700 or $500,
$500,
which slightly goes against our model of like not a big upfront cost, but if they've got real talent, you can see that. They've got the craft, so you're making an excellent product that you're proud of, that you genuinely would wear, and you're taking your ideas to them. So you're saying, you've got a vision, even if you haven't got the skill set. They will then take that, and if they love the idea, they put their love into it, and you'll come out with a really good product out at the end of it. So there's a few processes to go through, like your brief and then finding the right skill set to bring that to life. I often have people, come to me and go, "Oh, Chris, can I use Fiverr? I just want a quick thing." And I'm not saying there isn't a skill set there, but what I would say to you is the value that you put in and the craft that you put in up front ultimately pays off in the long term, because as my model proved, I thought a long time, I crafted that design, and now I'm still selling that pineapple t-shirt 18 months later. Yeah, so all that upfront. So if you imagine you spend £400 or £500 on a designer, and you have something that runs for 2 years. I don't do anything else with that t-shirt. You're just doing sales and promoting it, and that's all you have to worry about. So in the long run, it really, the value you put up front pays off long term.
I agree. I was going to ask you about Fiverr and also, provide an alternative option, just because I have used Fiverr before and my results varied tremendously. And I, just as you were talking about the cost of design, I'm not going to lie, $500 can be a lot for some folks. And, just one suggestion is maybe find someone that you can partner with, right? Where you can say, hey, maybe you can charge me less on the design cost, but maybe we can split the cost if if we can work together, use our networks and sell more of these. And maybe that's an option, just to kind of forego some of that high
yeah, 100%. Cost. And a good example of that, the T-shirt that you're wearing, the Neapolitan Dynamite that you've got there. My friend Tom actually came up with the name for it, and I said, "Dude, do you want to? Can we work together? I've got an idea how to draw that, bring it to life." And we partnered on that T-shirt with it. So finding a collaboration is definitely a good thing for it. If you haven't got you're just a writer, or you've just got a slogan. There's a good way of doing it. But just be honest about what you're bringing to the table. So bring a really good, well thought out idea to the partnership, and don't just expect the creative or the designer to be there doing hours and hours of work. Do you know what I mean? Because I do think, when I used to do freelance design as a graphic designer 15 years ago, I used to sometimes do logos and things for people, and they'd go, "Oh, Chris, do you want a logo?" I was like, "Sure, yeah, I'll help you out." It's probably going to take me all weekend, and they say, "Oh, I've got £20 for you. Is that okay?" And as a designer, you literally just, your heart sinks, and you're like, "Okay, so you want me to give up my entire weekend do 5 or 6 different iterations of your logo for you. You then give me feedback on that, and I have to work another couple of nights, and I get £20 at the end of it." So, the cost does seem high, but actually when the time and the effort and skill that goes into it, the value is there. And so to any designers out there, I would also say, if it's a good collaboration, you think there's a bigger opportunity from a partnership, that could be good, but also don't undervalue your skill set out there too.
In terms of just bringing stuff to the collaboration, like you could say, I have an audience, or I can help market it, et cetera, et cetera. How are you marketing your T-shirts and getting those high numbers?
Yeah, 100%. So, I run Facebook ads, Instagram ads. I do, I totally do. What I have noticed though is they've gotten a lot more expensive to reach. So from when I first started, I was trying to be tactical with it. So I'm not a media buyer. So I'm probably people listening going, "Chris, you're not being efficient with your ad spend." But I just tried to be smart. So like payday weekend, people were getting paid. So start running ads from the Thursday before the payday Friday, or even a few days running up to that, and a few days afterwards. People got cash in their pockets. Be smart and run those ads. That's definitely one way of doing it. I also sent out some shirts to people that I love in the pizza community. Like Fung, was one of those, and I did not expect. She has made the most amazing Neapolitan Dynamite video that's ever existed.
Oh, I saw that.
I did totally not expect her to sort of make that video, but I absolutely screamed. I loved it, and thank you, Feng. I do owe you quite a bit. Off the back of that, I maybe sold like 50 T-shirts just from that one video. So yeah, Feng, I owe you a lot of a nice dinner and some drinks if you're ever in the UK, for sure. So I actually sent her other half another T-shirt just to thank her. I was just like, because it was really cool content. But like I say, the best probably the best thing is because I've got some t-shirts that speak to people. So I've talked a lot about the pineapple t-shirt. Obviously, I've got the Badass Baller t-shirt, I called it. So I kind of identified there were lots of t-shirts about people who love pizza, but nothing that necessarily speaks to people that makes pizza, that is proud of like the dough and be it like Badass Baller. And I get, a lot of photos sent from people that with pop-ups, and there's 3 or 4 workers, and they've got their aprons on and the designs on the back, and they're in front of the oven, and they've got their Badass Baller shirts, or they've finished. There was a team of guys that had finished a shift. And they were at a bar. They've all 3 of them have got Badass Baller shirts on, and they're having a drink afterwards, and they're tagging me in their pictures because they love what it says, or guys that go to Italy and they've got their Neapolitan Dynamite shirts on. So I'm constantly getting people that have like loved the products, sharing, and that probably is the biggest driver. And then obviously I touched upon it before, but I struck up a good relationship with the people that make the t-shirts. They're always interested in what I'm creating or making, and they do support their creators. Like they have creators from all over with email marketing. They've put me out on their channel, and I think they've probably, I don't know, a few 100,000 followers. They put one of my t-shirts on their page. I did a partnership with Uni as well for National Hawaiian Day. They said, "Hey Chris, we love your shirts. Let's do something together." So they gave away 25 to their followers, and I gave all the money to charity, 100% for that with them. So little sort of promos. So that's probably the 3 things. But like I say, that I have noticed Facebook advertising maybe gone up 100%. So it's starting to really, if sometimes I only get £6 a t-shirt and maybe I spent £3 to get there, that's the amount of money has come down. But it's still doing okay, and I don't have any more upfront costs. So again, this is why this model is quite good. So they're the 3 things really. But the most powerful way is through people sharing the shirts when they've got them on, customers sharing them and talking about it, which is brilliant. And I got a shout out to Miriam as well. I sent her a shirt, and she honestly loves them and wears them all the time. She's a really big advocate, so I sent her every shirt that I designed, so you can have them just because she's so cool and another hero. And that's the other thing, you make good connections through the t-shirts, which is brilliant. And I've sometimes done exchanges as well. So people that have designed shirts say, "Hey Chris, I really like what you're doing. Do you want to swap with me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'd love to." So I've sort of got my own collection from other makers, and I'll always post up if there's someone sent me a t-shirt and support other creators with what they create. So yeah.
I love it. Can you give us a sneak peek for your next shirt?
Ooh, do you know what? I've just had a baby, not long had a baby, and I'm staring at the blank page at the moment, honestly. But yeah, I'm playing around with a few things. I tend to, a bit like overshooting, I like overwrite. And I don't know if this is a terrible idea. Someone might make the t-shirt. I'm going to give you one idea that I've had. I just don't know how to draw it up yet. Is you obviously have piazzaioli. So I thought about piazzaiolo. So basically a pizza maker that is all about only living once. And the idea behind that is make a pizza like it's your last pizza. So if you have that mentality, so piazzaioli is that. So if you make every pizza like it's your last and you put that craft into it, you're going to come out. So I don't really know if that's going to work or not, but that's one idea I've had, an exclusive. So if someone else makes that to me, we can partner on that.
Well, I think much like, giving someone your pizza recipe is like you said before, no one's going to draw like you or have your personality or your style or way of thinking. And so, yeah, if someone does take it, good luck. Good luck giving it the crisp touch.
That's cool. So I'm always writing down silly, I have notes in my iPhone, and something will come in my brain. I go, oh, that could be fun. I'll make that. Or I'm like, oh, I don't really know how to draw it. So yeah, I've got a few things on the go that I'm trying to explore, and I've also been exploring how I could do the characters, use the characters on more than one thing. But I'm also trying to do something in a more sustainable way. So I'm very conscious about I'm producing products, and so even though my shirts are organic. I use positive earth materials and things, and the packaging I send them out is recycled. I'm looking at how I could maybe upcycle secondhand clothing to make bespoke. I'm maybe thinking like tailored by disco could be my new venture. So yeah, that's another idea that's sort of mulling in the background. So watch this space.
Hey, Pizza Pal. I just want to say thank you for listening to the show so far, and thank you for making it all the way here. Before we get on to the end of the show, I want to remind you all to please leave a rating on the podcast. You could do it right now. Just go ahead and click 5 stars if you're listening on Spotify or Apple. It will greatly help the show. I appreciate you so much. And if you're looking to buy an uni or a second uni, the affiliate link helps the show so much. So please use that anytime you're considering a new oven. All right, enjoy the rest of the show. All right, well, I want to wrap up because we are close to the hour here. There are 2 questions that I love to ask before we end the show. What is one mistake in either pizza, business, or life that people should avoid?
I think that because you make something that people automatically love it, and that's as much as you might dig it. That's not true. You have to make sure you're honest with yourself and really interrogate the idea to see if it has traction, and if you're really offering something new to what's out there already. Be brave enough to have your own point of view on something, even if you're bringing out a similar product. So be hard on yourself is probably, and don't think people will love it just because you've made it.
Just as a follow-up question, something that you mentioned to me is, turning something from good to great. How do you apply that just in t-shirt making sure that, what you think is good, maybe not great? How do you yourself kind of make that transition from good to great?
I think it's about evaluating your idea, questioning yourself with it. Does the slogan that you've written, if you walk past it in the street, would that make you stop? Would you notice the design straight away? And is it unique to you? Does the t-shirt make you look at a particular subject matter in a different way? So, i.e. the pizza rights activism takes a well-known thing and spins it a little bit. And lastly, and most importantly, if you see something, does it move you to action? Like, does it make you want to get behind something? Does it make you want to go out and buy something? Does it make you proud that you want to shout out that it's speaking to you in some way? And you can have something that's good and you go, oh, that feels great, but then there's just something that comes in, and I suppose if you ask all those questions, it is a little bit of a gut feeling creativity. But when you have an idea that you've never heard from before, all of those things just click. Like you'll be able to, they call it the famous elevator pitch. So, if someone says, what's your idea, in a sentence, you should be able to say that idea and instantly people love it. And that's when you've got a good idea. If you have to over explain it and it gets all complicated, then you probably know it's not quite there yet.
That was great. Seriously. Wow. I am at a loss for words. I have a feeling this is one that I'm going to listen to over and over and over again, Chris. Thank you. Oh my gosh.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for being on. I've massively enjoyed it. I love the community, and anyone that wants to chat about anything afterwards, feel free to hit me up for sure.
Cool. Is there anything else you want to leave the audience with today?
Have fun. Honestly, have fun with what you do, and don't be scared by doing something out of your comfort zone, whether that's design, life, pizzas, no matter what you do, because failure is the best way to improve yourself.
Thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate your time here.
Thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Loved it. Thank you very much.